up? Hugh Nikk. So we're here in Hugh's studio, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys about VR. And first off, Nikk, I want to ask you, how did you start in VR? Like, how long have you been?
How'd I do it?
Yeah. What's been your journey?
So 10 years ago, I decided I wanted to start a video game company. And I was like 6 months into creating my first video game. It was a mobile game. It was going to be revolutionary. And then I saw a video of the Oculus DK1 on YouTube from Cinematic Bruce. Did you ever know that guy? He had long like dreads. He was like one of the first Kickstarter backers.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a legend. If you're watching this, love you, Bruce. But so I saw a video of him with the headset on, and he had that like whole just thing of like, there's something there. Oh, there's something there. And I saw that one video and how excited he was. And then I like looked at this mobile game and I was like, I'm like focusing on the past and this is the future right here. So it was like that morning I called my partner over. I was like, this is insane. And we threw our game out that day and then went like 100% into VR.
And were you living in China at that time, or when
Correct.
did you when did you move to China?
When I was 18, I found a job off Craigslist.
No
and then
way.
then I moved to China. Yeah.
Oh my God!
I know that story.
You took a leap of faith right there.
Craigslist, China. Wow.
That's a
Truly
duo.
think you can trust.
That's if we spoke the language.
And you spoke the language, right?
No, I didn't even know like ni hao. Like I literally didn't speak a single word, and I didn't even know what city I was going into. I like arrived in China and I thought I was going to Beijing, and they sent me to some city called Mudanjiang that like most Chinese people have never even heard of. It was like
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
You
Mudanjiang.
have something in your teeth.
No, really?
Nobody-
Hugh has something in his teeth.
Nice.
Realize? Really?
Yeah, we had pizza earlier.
Oh, it's
Go
good.
back to my note.
No, let me see. Smile.
Give me a
It's
seat.
gone.
Okay.
It's gone.
You look handsome.
All right.
But yeah, so I found a job off Craigslist, dropped out of university, maxed out my student loan in cash, and bought a one-way plane ticket, and then moved to China.
Wow.
And then so I happened to be in China just doing my own thing, and VR, the Oculus DK1 came out, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be the future. And
What
so
year
then
do you think that was?
2013, 2012.
Wow. So you've been in VR for like
Too
really
long.
early phases.
Yeah. Well, it's like in China, there was like this market crash in 2017
Oh,
in
wow.
VR because there was like this huge hype, and everybody's like, oh, isn't it so hard now? And I was like, not really. Like compared to 2013 or 2012, like the crash was way better than where it began from. So
Really?
yeah.
So Hugh, I'm going to ask you the same question. When did you start in VR?
So I started in VR probably around the same time. I forgot the exact years. Yeah, it's kind of like the same story. And I mean, I saw DK1, but I'm not started with actual VR yet. I started with 360 video when YouTube first launched 360 videos. I'm one of the first person to upload it and try that program, make sure to go through the whole thing to work, and it worked. And then I in love with 360 video. Back then, I don't think there's a DK1. I don't think Oculus come out anything yet. That is just 360 video.
Pre DK1, that's insane.
Yeah, it's that. Well, I'm started as a filmmaker, so it's just a 2D space so crowded. Nobody care about our film. We make like music and festival stuff. Basically, I captured Burning Man 360. It's my first ever video, still on YouTube. Have 5,000 views after 10 years. But it is first ever Burning Man experience in 360. And then we capture music festival and stuff in 2D, and the space is too crowded. As a musician myself, I'm a DJ. We're just looking for something like more sexy, attractive, and then there come YouTube 360 and something else too. Like Facebook also launching their own 360 platform, and then might as well start making 360 video, and then the VR come out. So it's a great
So you made it
transition.
just as panoramic.
Here's
So
some
with the
tea.
goal, like how,
Yeah.
so it was made just to be watched on a mobile device. moving
Mobile
around?
device, yeah. Watch only on mobile devices. Panoramic. We call it interactive video because you are moving the view.
Yeah.
So it's interactive 360 video. That's how we at least started.
And so you had no concept of doing it for VR. It was just panoramic.
There's no VR. There's no VR back then.
Huh. So
what year are you talking about?
Yeah, I didn't look it up. I mean, there's VR, but I was not in that scene until later on.
And there was no VR film. When VR first came out, it was only like crappy Unity demos.
There's no VR film right now.
Okay, fair point. Fair point.
Still is. I'm thinking
We're in VR
films.
film. We're in VR film at this moment.
Yeah.
But yes.
And Nikk, you so we're live streaming right now with one of
Correct.
your products. So how did you conceptualize this product that we're streaming with today?
Yeah, so I need to give like most of the credit to Wilson, who you met before, my partner. He's like a tech like genius. Like his first like 360 3D prototype was made with iPhones, like I think in 2011. Like he just, I believe, was the world's very first actual stereoscopic panoramic video. And so he's been working on this stuff all along. And for me, I love filmmaking. I used to be like kind of an amateur filmmaker just for fun. And then working in VR, I started to get opportunities to make VR film. Mm-hmm. And Wilson is like, maybe out of China, he's not a big deal, but in China, he's like the Steve Wozniak like of VR. And I hoped I could be the Steve Jobs, and so I saw like he's got
I know
tech.
he had his own not like the YouTube equivalent of China. Is that a Weibo? He had his own channel, right?
Yeah, well, he had his own like 360 video player, like his own website. Like he actually made his own headset, like in 2011.
720 or something like the
Oh,
Chinese.
720. That's another one.
Oh, it's
Yeah. But so with somebody like that who's got a vision for it. And for me, I believe VR film is going to be a huge thing.
I agree. Yeah.
And so it's about like solving all the problems that make it impossible or that make people not want to make it or enjoy it. And I think for me, the first thing is like one, VR film is really hard to make, which is a big problem. But I think the biggest problem is it's not good and people don't want to watch it. So the quality is not high enough. It doesn't support stereoscopic, or it doesn't provide live streaming, or all of these things. And so for me, I think what I can do as a company is try to solve those problems. And it's like every time I talk to you, you're always like, oh, we need this, or we need that, or we need this. And so for us as a company, if we can just be around creators and listening to what they're doing and then help them make that tool, then hopefully VR video will become a thing.
So basically, I'm the guy complaining a lot, and
Yes.
I complain for audience, so I actually have power. So it's dangerous.
No, but that's what it's about, and I think that's what the industry needs right now. Like, it's hard to be a VR filmmaker.
Well, before we go any further, I don't think most people know about the spec of your camera and which camera.
First off, I want to ask you why 180? Why not 360?
Because easier.
So 180 is easier.
Yeah. Was that the right answer? Should I have given it that?
No, yeah.
No. That was a joke. Yeah, actually, because that's the ideal viewing experience is a 180 video. I'm kidding. It's definitely because it's easier. Because for stitching is 1,000 times easier. For streaming is way easier.
There's no stitching, basically.
Yeah, basically because right now, actually, what we're doing is we're filming in 12K. We're downsampling it to 8K, and then we're automatically stitching. But you're right, it's not 8 lenses like quilting together. It's just switching from the fisheye with our template to kind of the 180 view. So the fact that we can do that, downsampling and stitching all live with like maybe 10 seconds latency, in VR film, there's no way you can do that.
Yeah, and it sounds like
in 360.
VR live stream is like your specialty, right? For this camera build, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there's something so special about VR film where you're actually like Wilson always says, it's the reality of virtual reality. Like when other people, they talk about the metaverse or they talk about all of these things, and it's like, okay, now everything's got to be digital. So it's like virtual idols is huge because it's like, okay, we have the metaverse, this virtual world, so then we need virtual idols. And then it's like game engines and all this design and all of this stuff people view as being the core like tools of the metaverse.
It's huge though in Asia. I mean, I don't think virtual idol is huge in US, but in Japan.
I don't even know what
in
virtual
China.
idols
Oh,
is.
it's super
What-
huge.
What
It's
is
super huge.
virtual idols?
Well, it's like, do you know Miku Miku?
No. Sorry.
That's okay.
Any Asian audience here?
Yeah. Josh, come out and sing a Miku Miku track. No. So it's basically, it's like just a 3D character. Like Hello Kitty is a virtual idol. So it's like an IP that's not based off of a real person.
Okay.
And so now, like, you said metahuman and those things. So it's like, well, it's like a Justin Bieber. Did you see his concert in Fortnite?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah, so he basically, well, I guess it's a virtual version of Justin Bieber.
Yeah, he's
So-
a real person.
Yeah, he is a real person. So if there was no real Justin Bieber, then it would be a virtual idol.
Yeah.
But even with the Justin Bieber concert,
Yeah.
that's cool and all, but they're like, okay, we want to put Justin Bieber in VR, so let's put him in mocap and control a model.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't want to see Justin Bieber's, I don't want to see a model controlled by Justin Bieber. I want to see Justin Bieber. Yeah. So I think
You want
that-
to see like live action, basically.
yeah, I want to see the real person in front of me. And it's like, for some use cases are cool. Like if I can see maybe Hugh's got a weird avatar that's not him and he's expressing himself or something. But for so many use cases, like if I wanted to see a star, I want to see that real star. If I want to hang out in VR, like now me and my mom, we play Settlers of Catan all the time.
together.
And-
Like
yeah,
you're in the
VR.
same room.
In VR, where it's like we're in the same room. We play it
Yeah.
on the Quest. And my mom loves that. Like,
And where's your
crappy
mom
3D space.
located?
My mom's in Calgary. I'm in China.
Yeah, in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So that is wild.
That's
like you can
wild.
feel like you're in the same space.
We're there,
at
and we're in the
time.
same space, but the space is like a crappy like PS1 game space, like the classic Zuckerberg Horizons photo. Do you know what I mean? To me, I hope VR isn't all virtual. And so I love the concept of VR film because it's like
Me too.
your stuff. You take dance and you guys just did those traveling stuff and all of this. And so it's like, okay, maybe I'm going to hang out in virtual reality all the time, but I'm actually hanging out in reality through
Yeah.
virtual reality.
I
Which-
love that.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, so if I say that, I know the Reddit community gonna eat me up, right? People have this crazy think VR have to be avatar driven, 3D modeling, sick stuff, have to be fake. If you view it's not VR. It's a really loud noise driven by a bunch of gamer people on Reddit. We admit that this is the world. There's a need there. It's really like successful, saturated. It's there already. But we are missing entire 75% of the population out there. They also want to be in the metaverse, but they want the metaverse look photo real. Like they want to, like as you say, they want to hang out with Justin Bieber in the same space, feel like they are there, and that's what people pay to see in concert. So that word, I don't know why it's not picking up. It's not getting successful. It's not getting enough attention there.
Well, it's like the whole, it's like a negative loop. So originally VR came out and somebody made a Beat Saber and a couple other really cool games, and gamers are like, oh, awesome, this is a new immersive platform. So gamers came to VR. And then creators look at the platform. What are you going to make? There's gamers on this platform. Okay, so I'll make games. So make more gaming content. Who is going to buy the headset? More gamers. And so it's just stuck in this loop, and people, they blame it on VR, and they're like, VR is just a niche gaming tool. And it's like, it's not, but that's just because of the way you make content for it.
Well, that's how they're monetizing right now is games. People will pay for games. People will pay for their favorite song to play on Beat Saber, you know? And I think that's where the money is right now. But I think the market's definitely going to change as we continue to make content that's compelling and people want to watch it and see it and feel like they're actually there and transport the minds of the viewer to the location, to the scene, to the football field, to wherever you want to be in reality, but transportation, you know what I mean?
The teleportation.
Yeah, teleportation, exactly. And if I had a superpower, that's what my superpower would be to teleport. And so we're giving people the opportunity to do that in
Well,
VR.
that's what, like, when you asked about live, what excites me so much about live. Like, I imagine, like, a metaverse or whatever it is, the this virtual space in the future combined with the real world space that has live stream cameras everywhere. So my prediction, within 5 years, that at any time you're going to have thousands and exponentially increasing of VR live streams. So it'd be like us, we want to hang out. And so, okay, what are we going to do? And maybe like me and Hugh play some games, and then we meet up with more people. And let's say you're not a gamer. And so what are we going to do? We take a look, and it's like the entire planet. Like maybe it's a globe, and we got like 1,000 dots, and these are all live streams happening right now. So it's like, oh shit, what time is it in like Southeast Asia? Let's find a sunrise.
Oh my
So we
God.
watch a sunrise in like Vietnam, and oh, it was amazing. I want to see another sunrise. And we look and see like where the time zones are going. Check that out, and it's like, all right, let's get some music. And we take a look, okay, clubs. Oh, Germany's got a bunch of clubs open. Remember last weekend we went to this club. You go to the club, and it's like we did a really crappy like minimum version of this, where on Halloween we had 2 separate VR live streams and connected with our like VR metaverse app. And it was crazy. It felt like bar hopping. Like it was like this group of people in the like VR space, like some low poly room. And it's like, oh, let's go check out the bar. And so like the group of us, like 10 people go to the bar space, and it was a terrible bar. Like my bad. I chose a really poor location, but we all get in there and we're in VR and we look around and we're like, boring. Hung out there for like a minute and we're like, let's go to the next bar. Like we were bar hopping through physical bar locations from virtual reality. And to me, that kind of live experience just is like mind-blowing.
You're reminding me of my experience at Burning Man. Burning Man's like that, where you could just hop around on your bike and go to a different art car or whatever, but you're doing this around the world. You're blowing my mind every time I talk to you, because the last time I talked to you, you were showing me people going live in VR in China like you would on a TikTok live, but in a social media platform that China has right now that we don't really have in the US. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is how social media is going to be in the future in the US. It's going to come over here eventually.
Well, I see it. Like we were talking about that the other day of like what ByteDance does with video, and how like Facebook didn't care about video before TikTok, and now they really do. And Meta doesn't care about video before Pico, and I'm predicting that they really will.
I hope so.
Fingers crossed, but I just back to that loop. Like it's still what Pico's been doing in China is they do just like they've done a 180. Like it's insane.
No pun intended.
Oh, 180? Get it, Hugh? 180. Was it better after I explained it?
180. We're live in 180 right now.
Oh, that was
VR
golden.
180.
But yeah, now they love video, and it's just because they want to expand the market, and they need to expand the market. But they're still, I feel it's still stuck again, because now they're really into video content, but it's primarily male focused.
Oh, the male gaze?
For the male gaze. And not even just the like male gaze in like that aspect, like it's like car content and
cars,
like yeah, and I think again that's getting it in a bad loop, because it's like now if you go on the live streams, if we go on right now, we'll probably have like maybe 10 to 30 live streams, and almost all of them are going to be girls.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, they're like, okay, they still want to expand out of gamers, but yet they're still to really go mass market.
I mean, if Pico's watching right now, it's a danger market that at least in the Western world, be really mindful of, because it is a new market. Ethics need to be in place. So one thing I see about this whole thing, right? Company, again, like not point finger, like all company chasing for profit makes sense because they're an investor, and then they do market research, and just want to like capture that market is already there, which is a gamer market, which is 90% still, makes sense. So they make like dual focus content. But the thing is, some company or somebody out have to be venture out, because we're missing 50% of the population, at least 50, right? It's female.
Yeah.
And then among that, another 75% is older generation, not gamer crowd, like mom and dad, like people actually want to travel. We have a lot of our audience samples around like 30 to 40, male and female, love to travel. Like people like that is being ignored in the metaverse. Like mostly being ignored in the metaverse. And nobody, people don't see profit there. They don't attack those audience, and that is being driven the development of all the new tech, which is to me kind of strange.
I will say, as a female, I would say that I think women would enjoy VR content, especially VR films. I love watching VR films and being transported into the world that the director creates for my entertainment. And I'm creating content like that. So one of the things that I recently shot was in France. I wrote a little romance film, and we shot it all over France, and I'm gearing up to distribute that, and I'm just really excited because it's this really sweet love story that kind of unfolds, but it's like romance, and it doesn't always appeal to a women audience. It doesn't have to be romance or anything like that. It could be comedy or anything like that. Like, I want to see more comedy in the metaverse.
We need more female creator. I think that is the biggest problem. Like, we don't need
How many are there?
I mean,
One.
I know several. Actually, I collab several.
There's several.
Yeah, female creator. Okay, here is a sidetrack, right? I captured Paris Hilton talk in CES.
Because I told him to.
Yeah, okay. I put it on like Instagram. I put it on Meta. Actually, I put it on YouTube VR. All I get is thumb down. Right? People think she's stupid. She's trying to own metaverse.
But you got views.
Well, you got views, obviously. Yeah.
Obviously, people want to see Paris Hilton live.
It's not a good view, not a good feedback. Like, I mean, again, I don't want to speak on behalf of like Paris Hilton and her character. She's an entertainer. Like she put on an ad to get like it's her thing. Like she
has a brand.
She's a brand. Like
she is a brand.
The reason commercial is kind of like generate hate, right? Oh, Paris. Oh my God, they named a city after my name. The whole Paris Olympic commercial.
I don't know.
So Paris Hilton,
she said that.
Shout out. So Paris Hilton making her own commercial on her own Instagram, a million views about Paris named after her name, and the Olympic is going on her honor. I mean, she's going this entire.
Really? She said that?
Well, I mean, on her Instagram, but it's funny.
That's hilarious.
It's a funny content, and this is her thing, right? She just like this fully egotistic creator. It's a thing, but it's not a bad way. It's just entertainment content, and it's her thing, right? So it might sound like egotistic. It might sound stupid. I'm not saying that she's stupid. Like she pretend to have this persona. It's her thing. Doesn't mean she actually like. I mean, obviously she's not.
So
stupid.
what you're saying is you just had that feedback after posting this video on a woman in XR. Technology, is that what your point is?
Oh, my point is like
I don't know where you're going.
Okay, my point is like I think like we enjoy different type of content. There's all different kind of niche community enjoy different kind of content. I think metaverse should be an open, inclusive space. Should not be gamer do only space, right? And then I'm not saying that metaverse is not inclusive. It's inclusive, but what you see as a space not inclusive or not is their content and the content creator. Yeah. And something that you cannot like just ignore. Say, in our space we include all race, we include all sexes, we include everything, but your content is not. So how can you say inclusive?
Well, it's not speaking to that demographic.
Yeah.
You know.
And that again, driven by profit. So it's like it's a catch-22, right? I mean,
it's catch-22, but I also think it's short-sighted. Like I think a lot of times profit and like morals can match. Like obvious, like you said, they're doing it for profit, so they're just trying to take advantage of their male audience. But if they were like, well, actually we should be inclusive and we should support different creators, and if they did all that, then their audience is going to grow and their market's going to grow. So I think it's like, I don't know, I guess it's short-sighted.
And even like the VR films that get promoted, it's kind of like the horror genre. Like everyone wants to make a horror film in VR because it's kind of easier in a way.
Did you guys make a horror? Did you guys make a horror film in VR?
We've worked with the group Black Box TV, which I love that kind because it's more fantasy in a way. But I feel like people have been making more horror, and it's more like male directed films.
Give Tony a shout
VR
out.
films.
Tony from Black Box TV.
Yeah, his stuff's great.
His series on metaverse TV is mind blowing. Even into horror, into roller coaster, into VR. Watch that stuff. It's next level.
I think
What's his series
anyone could love that one,
Tony,
that piece.
What-
Tony, I can't remember his last name.
Black Box
But it's,
TV.
yeah, it's Black Box TV, and we helped him. And I just really love that piece because it's not only kind of like this horror jump scare, but it's also like a roller coaster ride. So it feels like you're on a ride.
It's epic horror. It's just like it's not
Epic
trying to-
horror.
Yeah, it's not trying to jump scare you.
Yeah, there is some jump scare in there.
I
You couldn't finish it?
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Some clowns jumping around there
Yeah,
in
like
there.
clown.
Well, what does it mean, do you guys think, VR film versus normal film? Like, does it, like, is it just more immersive? Is it just higher resolution?
So,
or is it different?
Let me speak on the technical side, and then Keeley can jump in the director side. So actually, that is a big thing. Like, what stopped filmmaker to jump into filmmaking in VR? So VR filmmaking is very, very different from traditional filmmaking. So I think like as a creator, I'll be prepared for that. Like you need to forego a lot of control in VR filmmaking and let the viewer decide where to look. There's one big thing. As a director, again, I'm not a director, but for camera tech, like it also requires a lot of pixel in VR. I know it sounds weird, like in the filmmaking world, you need to shot in RE Alexa or Red, and you're chasing for like the 4K, 8K. Actually, 4K in RE is good enough. 4K in VR is never good enough.
No.
So we chasing something like 8K to 12K high pixel cam.
Must be stereoscopic.
And well, I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say it. Okay.
Most people would say that.
Well, I'll argue
Okay,
that.
finish what you're going to say,
Yeah.
then we'll debate stereo.
Yeah, we'll debate. Yeah. So mono, stereo, 360, 180, like whatnot, right? That have to be high pixel cam and have to be like high quality, like high frame rate and high quality. There's no 24 frames per second. It's actually 60 frames per second because there's some motion blur in VR to make people sick. You can't move your camera like crazy, like in 2D world. Not even in gimbal. There's a lot of rule like in VR that not the medium try to set on you, is technology try to set on you because headset is not light enough. There's not enough gyro to really like calibrate the motion sickness inside the headset, inside the viewer eyes. So technology is not there yet. So as a content creator, as a filmmaker, we need to work in a constraint of technology. I think that's the biggest thing. And then if you want to be a VR filmmaker, you kind of need to learn and understand the technology progression because the next generation of Pico, Meta, or whatnot headset might have a new feature. You need to actually use it into your film to make your film better.
MR?
MR is one thing.
That is the
Yeah.
hottest topic right
Yeah,
now.
there's another bigger world, right? The way MR and AR, like, so... And,
Mixed reality,
And
but-
sick stuff, like people have a concept like, oh, VR 180 is not a VR, 360 is not VR. And then they see my video that I can actually turn a VR 180 video into a 6-star video. Now they can move in VR, so is that still not
What?
Not 6-star?
What?
So technologies keep progressing
Yeah.
based on need of the viewer. So I will not make such a statement say like VR filmmaking is not VR because 6-star is coming. You can have a stereo image to generate half the frame AI and then create like at least 3 degree to 5 degree of freedom, not 6 degree, but you can move around now. So it is coming.
It's coming, and it's definitely going to keep improving, but I still... Like, I guess maybe on the stereo versus mono we disagree because I think you need that. But I think
You
for
need what?
Stereo.
You need stereo.
3D. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely need 3D. But for actual 6DoF, like I think it really depends on the content that you're watching to really need 6DoF. Like, for example, if I was wanting to be watching content a video that's shot from the perspective of me in this space, like I haven't moved around really. Like I think the 1 or 2 centimeters of just when you turn your head, I think is really good for motion sickness. Like a tiny bit of sick stuff will really help.
Yeah.
But really, like if it was this scene, is there any reason for me to want to like
Move and walk around.
look at you
Yeah.
behind?
I think it's
Like, you
like
got a really nice neck. Though.
I think it's giving people a little bit of locomotion or motion to avoid motion sickness is
Yeah.
really helpful in 360 video. Again, this is not for the creator actually. This for the developer in the headset side. I'm pretty sure that one iteration of the Oculus TV player actually enabled that. So it is still a 3D video, but somehow it do some smart
HTC.
some smart calculation that actually you can move your
around.
head and have a parallax issue. That actually make me not sick at all. But again, some people say they're making them sick. It's like not what they used to, right? But actually, this adjusts some of the problem that 3D content have. That's all we need to watch 3D film. Like if you can really like get rid of that, because here my argument about 3D versus 360, right? So 3D is great. I know Meta pushing it, Biden pushing it, everybody pushing it, right? But 50% of the population cannot see 3D. Stimulate some of your eyes. When you pass 50 years old, 3D getting really, really weak.
But the 50-year-olds. So what about the population under 50?
Well, there's still other IDC to prevent people to see 3D. My point is like, this is an accessibility issue, right?
Yeah.
So that's why like 3D might make people sick. But if like technologists, company can band together to figure out like some kind of like smart gyro in the headset to really like counter the head movement to really create a real head experience, I think that will make 3D film so much better. But again, no research been done here.
But let me ask you creatively, like from a creative perspective, which medium would you use, 360 or 180? And is there a moment in time where one or the other makes more sense?
Yeah. Well, like right now, just like live streaming, 180 makes sense.
Yeah.
A resolution, 180 makes sense. So 8K in 180 is going to be twice the resolution of 8K in 360.
That's wild.
Lighting, projection, everything. So for example, people watching here, you can only see this side. So you don't see the team behind the camera. They don't see any of that, which is amazing. Like you've probably done it so many times, you guys, when you're filming in 360 and you gotta go and hide.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the camera setup.
Yeah.
I love watching
make a
other
plate.
people's content.
I make
and
a plate.
you try and find like the director who's like always just like hiding somewhere.
He's hiding under the table right now.
Yeah, it's off camera. It's me, I wanna do
It's
it.
called hide and go seek in VR. In all of Hugh's old VR videos, it's fun. It's like, where's Waldo?
Where's
but where's
Hugh?
Hugh?
You gotta hunt him out.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi. He pointed himself out to me when I was watching the Abu Dhabi experience.
Yeah.
He was hiding in a bush in
It's
Abu Dhabi.
It's actually a very good point. Like as a content creator, I think do a little bit of research. Again, like when you get a client project, don't say that this is perfect for VR because you're a VR filmmaker. It's really depend on your audience, your distribution market, and what is the content called for. So I'm not against 180 3D versus 360 3D versus 360, right? It's all about the content.
It's all about
If
the
a travel
project.
piece, if you give people, I actually give people right now 3D 180. Viewers say, what? This is not fully immersion because I can't see things behind me. I'm traveling
For tourism stuff.
for tourism
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, 100%. Because you want to put them in the space and you want them to experience.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
About the
Whereas
space.
for us, this content, do you really need to see what's behind you?
Do you really need to see the stadium and the crowd behind you in a
Unless Justin Bieber
sport
sits behind
experience?
But unless it's Justin Bieber, or it depends on what kind of entertainment it is. So if
Yeah.
it's an orchestra, like maybe it would be interesting for a minute to look around at all the people wearing nice suits.
Nice
But-
gowns and everything.
Yeah, but for the entire concert, they're going to be sitting there like that, and there's nothing really to see on them. Wrestling match, like professional wrestling, WWE. Do you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
the audience is as much
part
as
of
a part of it. So it's like you want to see the guy there, and you also want to see the guy like freaking out behind, like yelling things, and like maybe the guy on stage will like flip him off, and you go look back and forth. Like it's that kind
Seeing
is
that
totally
interaction.
environment. Yeah.
And that's a story playing out.
Yeah. So I would say if I was going to do wrestling, I would want it to be 360. If it was boxing or like something that was less about boxing. Still probably would want 360, but not as needed.
Yeah. For PBC fights, we use the 180 cameras for that. So
Not even stereo, mono 180.
yeah, it was
Oh, really?
mono
In the Blackmagic camera
live streaming.
from Meta.
But this is a great live streaming experience.
Yeah.
Your camera. Remind the audience what the name of your camera is.
Oh yeah. And me. I don't even know if I said my name. No, I think you said it. But I'm Nikk, and FXG is the company. And we make, this is our main camera model right now, the FM Duo. So it's 12K full frame sensors, 2 full frame sensors. So huge dynamic range. We were talking about it earlier, like the neon lighting in the back and us. Like I think this is a good scene for dynamic range.
It's live. This is the craziest.
Yeah,
This is
and it's live in 8K. I think we did 100 megabits, the final bit rate. So it's super high resolution, high quality, and this is the FM Duo, this camera.
And we're streaming to China, right? Like
Yeah, well, so our official, the like main host is in Germany. For some reason, we've been like trying like the world of CDNs, and we found Germany has some really good Huawei servers. So we're streaming up into Germany, and then from Germany to people. I should say hi to everybody in China watching. Happy New Year's! Oh, happy what year? Bunny.
it
year.
is the bunny.
Yeah.
It is the bunny.
Happy 新年快乐,
Chinese New Year right
兔子年快乐.
It was the tiger, right?
It was
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it goes all across the world, with I think probably from here to Germany to China, like maybe half a minute of latency.
That's so wild.
Isn't that crazy? I see this, my vision for this in the future is it'll just be like, it'll like the teleportation we talked about,
Yes.
but like it'll be your meat avatar. Like you can actually, I don't know, like I think with tech like this we'll be close to just living in the cabin in the mountains and like everything can be done remotely.
Let's talk about technology. So there's another debate like I think there's more between like metaverse like there's more HTC like mono versus stereo in 180. So there's iteration like people build a game environment in the other 180 and see mono 180, and then you gotta go for extreme approach stereo 180, and then the back is black, right? Did you guys have a game engine environment driven in the back? You do have it.
Currently on this it's just black. But so you can, for the live streams we did with Pico, they have like an actual environment. And so we have one camera right there where you're seeing us from. But for Pico's live streams, they'd have up to 4 different, I think once we did 5 different positions.
To switch.
Yeah. And so then depending on where you are in the virtual space, it automatically switches.
Oh, so you auto switch for you in the virtual space.
So it's like, let's say if we were filming that side of the room, and so there was a camera right here, a camera right there, and a camera right there in this actual real world space. And then in Unity or whatever we built this in, maybe later we'll build one for Horizons or something. And what then happens is this would be a 3D space. That side would be the 180 video. And when I'm in this area, it automatically gives me this camera feed. And then in the virtual space, when I like move to the other side of the room, then the camera that I'm seeing from there automatically switches to that camera lens.
You're blowing my mind
So
again.
it's like you walking around in the metaverse, and it's like, that's almost 6-off actually.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can actually move. And so technically you could do the same idea and put like cameras around someone. So I could put the cameras around you, and then the virtual space, depending on where I was, kind of like it would give me a bullet time. So I
That
could
is
give like a
so
full
interesting.
Outside
outside
of like 12K 3D camera. That's how
That's
expensive
so
that thing
nice. Okay, so I want to ask you, what was it like working with K-pop stars? What is
Oh,
that like?
the name.
Like artists and musicians in K-pop.
I guess that's disappointing. I don't like really end up working with anybody. I'm like, I guess I didn't choose my role on the team. I'm the CEO of the company, and now we're like just reached a level where like all I do is like have meetings all day.
Oh, but
So
your
it's like-
camera is capturing.
Well, they
these
get to work
people.
with them, but I like we just filmed a huge project at Universal Studios.
Oh, nice.
And there's like some really, I guess, nothing's announced, but
Don't disclose anything.
um,
we didn't sign an NDA, or did we? I don't
Oh,
remember.
no, it's live. So yeah.
Yeah, I know.
but
Doesn't matter.
these, yeah, now my team does it, and I like don't contribute. Like when we were setting up, I felt like a little awkward because I'm like not as familiar with the camera as I should be, because I don't usually do anything. But now I don't have my team, so I'm actually
Hey, at
creating.
least you have a team. How big is your team?
Now we almost 40 people.
That's a lot of people
That's a lot
to
of people.
manage.
Yeah.
How do you manage?
How do I manage them?
Yeah.
WeChat, because I'm in LA right now. It's hard and it's weird because like I don't think I talk about this much when I'm getting interviews, but it's super weird being a Canadian and just like
CEO of a Chinese company.
yeah, no, it's like I'll see myself in third person, and
Right.
it's like when you're playing a video game and you make a really weird custom character who doesn't fit in the scene. Like he's wearing like a clown costume in like World War II. That's how I see myself in third person. It's like everybody makes sense, everything makes sense, and then there's this like white little me like, 我们觉得这个不能这样做, and I'm like, what, Nick? you talk like a kung fu film. It's like I don't know. It trips me out all the time.
That must be really interesting. So it sounds like you kind of don't fit in a way, which kind of can work for your benefit or not.
I feel like any challenge is generally primarily a challenge over like an advantage, but if you can like somehow defeat the challenge, then it is an advantage.
Yeah.
For me being a non-Chinese person running a company in China, the advantages I feel there's a lot of like kind of shallow advantages. So I would compare it to being like a really, I don't know if this is an appropriate example, but maybe it is. If you were just a really attractive woman in tech in the West, I think some doors are initially open for you quickly,
Wow.
but the like bigger doors often don't open. So it's like, let's say if I was a beautiful woman at a tech conference and Hugh was beside me in California, more people would talk to me than you. Correct? Just in general,
I don't know
people.
about that.
Well, okay, no, okay. If it was a normal person, yeah, okay. If it wasn't Hugh, in general, you would get attention, but then it's shallower attention, because like I feel like I can't say I understand the struggles of other people in other spaces, but I'm very aware of what it's like to get a lot of attention, but not a lot of opportunities.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
at the conference, everybody's going to come up to me. Like, oh, dude, where are you from? Oh, cool, you're Canadian. That's awesome. Like, oh, can we get a selfie or something? Because it'll be at a conference where, like, that really stands out. Because
Yeah.
I'm not like everybody else there. But then when they're wanting to sign $1 million contract or something, they're probably going to find somebody who looks more like them.
That's interesting because they feel an inherent trust with
Yeah.
that type of person
Yeah,
who's
it's-
more like them.
Yeah, it's like the same thing of why like the problems of diversity won't be solved without diversity in leadership, because I feel that's where it all spreads down from. And so that makes it really challenging, but to learn how to kind of take my advantage. So if we were at a conference and some guy came over and he's like, oh, hey, where are you from? And he obviously doesn't care about the product. He's just interested in like my shiny face. I would say like, oh, I'm from Canada. It's great to meet you. Pass him a business card. And then I'd be like, and like Mr. Wong is going to talk to you about the camera.
That's
so
cool.
I use my advantage of my unique kind of perspective to pull people in. And then I remind them, but by the way, you're not going to be working with me on the project. Like, you're not going to have English contracts show up that you can't read.
Wow.
You know, because it's not, well, one part there is racism, but I would say it's not primarily racism. It's just
it's a convenience, it
course.
sounds like, because they want to speak in Chinese. They want to have those Chinese contracts. That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
it's a
and
convenience.
the cultural thing, and
Yeah.
it's like there's 1,000 different things, and it's like safety first. And so that makes it extremely hard because I'm not a safe face.
But you have a great team, and so it
Yes.
sounds like you have really honed in on creating a really great team, having Wilson be your tech support and all of the things, and your business partner. So it just seems like you're on the right track as far as the FM Duo model goes, and I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with.
Thanks.
Along the road. It sounds like it's been a busy road.
It's been a wild road, but it's like to be here specifically and with you guys, that's like, this is where I want to be. One, just to be able to kind of get excited about it. And like, I when I talk to you guys and like the struggle, I feel so real. Like when I ask how many VR filmmakers are there, or VR filmmakers isn't a thing. And now to be able to actually be involved with people who are movers and players, and to be able to be creating some tech that maybe, who knows, maybe you guys will do it and create some crazy live stream, or maybe somebody who sees this and will be like, oh, I have 1,000 hotels, I should put a 24/7 VR live stream on all of them, or something. But just to be in this place now where it's like things are moving forward and things are happening, and it's like finally I can travel, and it's we're actually doing it. Like, this is a 8K 3D stereoscopic live stream happening around the world, and that I can be making this happen with such cool people.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
blessed.
giving the tools to
Let's
the
talk
creator.
about, I think a lot of people will concern like where platform, what distribution they can use with the technology right now.
Yeah. We were talking about this, where you said, how can people sell the content? Can they sell tickets to it? Can they monetize it? How do they see it?
Yeah.
And that is, I feel, probably the next biggest piece of the puzzle.
People are talking about 8K 60 frame per second live stream content.
Yeah. Well, and so you need it. It needs to be this high resolution. And so now it's about finding what platforms will work. So is it, we have our own video player, but I think that the best thing will be to just work with every other player. And so figure out how can we help Horizons to open up 8K 3D live streams? How can we work with new platforms? How can we add it to Engage or to AltSpace? So that's a super huge priority. In China, it's super, super great because ByteDance has like that infrastructure, and they just integrated it with Douyin, their TikTok. And so because they have all of that right there, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the West. What's the solution to the CDN?
We're definitely a little bit behind, but I think it will come together because we'll want to stay current, you know?
What do you guys see the biggest platform for VR film being in the future?
I don't know about future, but I see it as MetaQuest TV for now.
For us, it's MetaQuest TV because even though I don't hate stereo, I only really want my content be seen in stereo, either stereo 260 or stereo 180. I think that's really show the power in VR. And I see people like in headset see stereo content. So one misconception, stereo in VR is not just 3D. It's not just a 3D you used to in an IMAX theater. 3D in VR, it just make whatever you see look more real life. Because what we see in our own eye have depth. We know how far away this light away from me. You don't see that in a 2D flat screen movie cinema. We've been trained in the cinema history for 80 years since the day of cinema come out to look at a box, to find story in that constraint of the box. And we and our ancestors constrain our enjoyment, our storytelling skill into a freaking box. And why now, for the first time, VR filmmaking try to break out the box? And there is constraint. Hollywood freaking freaked out. Like, what the hell are you guys trying to do, right? Like, but it is
mind blowing.
Yeah, it's a box we're trying to break. And I know why now the resistance is super strong because we are threatening the entire industry of movie making. But as a creator, that doesn't stop us to break out the box to really like open the frame. So the frame is really in front of us, and you feel like you are there, and now you enjoy the story in a whole new way, and that's what made me so exciting.
You're there, man. That's, to me, that's what it is. It's like if I want to play a video right now, it's like you're all sitting there and you're seeing the video on my phone. But it's like once you put on the headset, there is no headset. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't see the headset. Like it's not.
It disappears because
the headset disappears. Yeah, and it's like I'm not watching. Like the people now, they're not watching a video being played of us. They're looking at you, Keeley. They're looking at Hugh. They're looking at me. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just looking over there at random stuff. But it's like they're not watching a video. They're looking at that actual thing. And to me, that's so exciting. And it's like the resistance I find is almost. Well, it's almost comical, I think. Just the first one I understand because some directors are control freaks.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe most directors are control freaks. Yeah. And so it's like, now you want me to give the control to the viewer? And it's like, well, they're idiots. I hate them.
That's terrible. That's such a terrible mindset, I feel like.
That's one problem. And then the other problem is just this, like, acceptance with what we have as the best because it's what we have. Like, do you know the story of the guys who invented sound in film? Like,
no.
They figured out, because old films had like a pianist or like an orchestra.
Live,
just sitting there playing live. Mm-hmm. And somebody figured out how to have recorded film that could be matched to the video. And he was like, this is amazing. Theaters are going to love me. Like, I've added a new element to video. Like, this is so much closer to reality. He was rejected by almost everybody. They were like, what do you mean?
I think I remember.
And they're like, well, no, now you can have dialogue. You can hear people talking in the film. And they're like, people are going to films to hear people talk? Like, they want to hear a guy playing piano and, like, watch things move to music. And it honestly took, like, so long for him to even get a chance.
A couple of decades.
Yeah, and then when they got chances, it was like they still just put, the first ones just put the piano guy, like, recorded that to the film. And then it was like they started adding in, like, little bits and pieces. Because, like you said, we trap ourselves in these boxes. And originally, it's like with VR filmmaking now, you're in this box, so it forces you to be creative. But then eventually, we'll have beaten out this box.
To break out of the box.
But we'll already have, like, once we eventually get 6DoF video, I'm sure we'll have 3DoF video habits that won't be breakable. And people
we will break them, and we'll be... it'll be happy accidents, you know.
Oh, and we'll be the outcasts again.
Yeah.
When finally, like, all the people now who are rejecting VR video, in 10 years, once 6DoF video is good enough, we're going to bring it to them, and they're going to be like, no, VR video, that's what it is. 6DoF is weird. We're not ready for that.
So, as we wrap up, I'm going to ask a few questions I ask everyone. So, I often wonder where creativity comes from. Where do you think creativity comes from? I know it's a very broad topic, but
God, the nether, the, like, other world. There's, like, I don't know exactly how it exists, like, physically compared to us, but I just feel that there's, like, it's almost like a river where you can just, like, put your hand in and, like, grab, like, a drink
and bring it
it's
down.
Like, yeah, but it's, like, above us, and it's like when I just somehow, like, if I need an idea about something, it's like I just, like, sit and, like, just, like, kind of, like, knock on, like, the door or whatever that thing is, and then it's like ideas come,
and then it comes pouring in.
So I to me, it's something super religious, no, superficial, no, superstitious,
spiritual.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, that was way better than all the words I used. Yeah, so inspiration is spiritual.
I love that. That's so fascinating. Yeah, we're just pulling information from the ethers. It's like, you know, the muse. Everyone, a lot of artists think about the muse and how, like, they don't know where the muse is coming from. It's like this thing that we're just the conduit, like the tool.
Oh, totally, 100%.
That the creativity is flowing from into.
And practice. Mm-hmm. So I would say maybe the practice doesn't create inspiration, but it allows you to access it. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the biggest thing, what I've seen in, like, some of the greatest artists that I know, is just an ability to, like, push themselves to create when they don't feel inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like like inspiration will come usually, but it doesn't always come right away. And so I think a lot of people, like, they talk about writer's block, and I think the ultimate skill is to be able to write with writer's block, because once you start writing, then writer's block goes away.
Hugh, what does it mean to be an artist?
So I'm actually more agree with the second part. To me, I never have a raw talent like most of my friend does. I don't born as an artist. So I think creativity is coming from experience, and experience coming from practice. Believe it or not, like, there's a big like not controversy debate, right? All the good artists is also a good thief. Unconsciously, they steal from their life experience, from the movie they watch, music they hear, lesson they learn in college, and their friends. And you can call this steal or borrow or whatnot, but creativity is actually subconsciously come from experience, and that is at least how I function. And then the hone that experience require two things: practice like crazy, and then experience. Like, as a person, you need to go out there and also experience, and that also require an artist or person practitioner to step out of comfort zone to try new thing, and then get inspiration there. I mean, these people can get inspiration by sleeping and daydreaming. I'm not that person. I'm the person that just need to experience and then get inspired from the process.
And then my last question is, can anyone be an artist?
Yes.
Why?
I think it depends on how you look at art. If you look at it as like a career, then obviously no. Like, a lot of artists can't be artists if you look at it that way.
I know, because they can't be an entrepreneur.
yeah, exactly. So on that side of art, no, because that's something very challenging. But I also think art as play, I think, is open to everyone. And I think for sure, maybe some people, it'll exist in different ways, but it's really, when you look at anything, when you look at a chef, or you look at a car mechanic, or you look at just an old person, I think really to be an artist is more of a mentality, and it's like just a concept. And I think anybody can think that way, though most people don't.
I love that. So how can people find your work or what you do?
So if you just search Nikk Mitchell, Nikk with 2 Ks, on Google or the other ones, there's a bunch of stuff about me. And FXG, find us on Twitter, FXG_VR. We got a Discord. We have lots of cool plans. If you're a filmmaker, my goal for this year is to travel the world and meet all of you. So I'd love to visit you, bring a camera, maybe do a live stream where you are. But yeah, we're all around, and we've based in China, but this year my goal is to
travel around the world.
Yeah, to be a man of the world.
Nice.
Hugh, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Meta, Facebook, Instagram. My name HUGH, my last name HOU, Hugh Hou. Our channel is the Metaverse Stage on MetaQuest TV. That is where you find our most high-end content. We just launched a new film on our MetaQuest TV channel called The Arctic Holocline. I cannot pronounce it correctly. What's that?
Camera just went dead.
There you go.
And that's it. That's a wrap.
You got the force, give me to a doctor. You hit me with the magic potion. Ooh, baby, step into my passion in the fall.
Thank you for watching. My name is Keeley Turner. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, bell button, you know the jazz. Every YouTuber says that. And I will see you in the metaverse.